We're live. Good evening. I've got a script here. My name is Dr. Craig Clark, and I'm the Executive Director of the Allegheny County Industrial Development Agency in connection with the project which is the subject of this public hearing. Today I'm holding the public hearing to allow citizens to make a statement for the record relating to involvement in the agency with the following project for the benefit of Swain Recreation Center LLC, a New York State limited liability company. On December 28, 2011, the agency granted certain financial assistance to the company in connection with the project, which consisted of the following: the acquisition of interest in parcels of land having an address of 2275 Main Street, County Road 24, in the hamlet of Swain, Town of Grove, Allegheny County, New York, tax parcel identification numbers 33-1-43.11, 32-1-17, and 32.1-16.1. Together existing buildings, the existing facilities located thereon, the renovation and reconstruction of existing facilities, and the acquisition and installation thereon of the certain machinery, equipment, and infrastructure. And together with the land and existing facilities being collectively referred to as the project, all of the foregoing to be owned by the company and operate as a ski resort. The granting of certain financial assistance with respect to the foregoing included potential exemptions from certain sales and use tax, real property tax, real transfer tax, and mortgage reporting taxes. The lease of this project facility to the company pursuant to the terms of a lease agreement dated December 1, 2011, by and between the agency and the company. Due to increasing costs and increased regulation in the ski industry, the agency received an application from the company with respect to the 2011 project, pursuant to which the company requests that the agency consider granting additional financial assistance in connection with the 2011 project. Tend to provide general information on the agency's general authority and public purpose to provide assistance to the 2011 project. I will then open the comment period to receive comments from all present who wish to comment on either the 2011 project or additional financial assistance being contemplated by the agency. Amount of financial assistance being considered. However, before discussing the general information and opening hearing for public comments, I'd like to first describe some details regarding additional financial assistance. The estimated value of tax exemptions would be $400,904.21 in real property tax exemptions. Revisions of Chapter 1030 of Laws of 1969 of New York, constituting Title I of Article 18-A of the General Municipal Law, Chapter 24 of the Consolidated Laws of New York amended, and Chapter 99 of the 1973 Laws of the State of New York as amended and codified in Section 906A of said General Municipal Law, authorize the agency to promote, develop, encourage, and assist in acquiring, constructing, reconstructing, improving, maintaining, and equipping, and furnishing, manufacturing, warehousing, research, commercial, and industrial facilities, among others. Pursuant to Section 859-A of General Municipal Law of the State of New York, prior to the agency providing any financial assistance more than $100,000 to any project, the agency, among other things, must hold a public hearing pursuant to Section 859-A of the Act, which respect to said project. Since the proposed financial assistance provided by the agency exceeds this $100,000, and prior to providing any financial assistance of more than $100,000 as noted to the additional financial assistance with respect to the 2011 project, the agency must hold a public hearing on the nature and location of the project and the proposed financial assistance provided by the agency. After consideration of 223 applications received from the company, the members of the agency adopted a resolution on October 12, 2023, authorizing the Executive Director of the agency to conduct a public hearing in respect to the proposed additional financial assistance. Executive Director of the agency caused notice of this public hearing to be mailed on October 18th to Chief Executive Officer of Allegheny County, Town of Grove, and Canastota Central School District. Published on October 26th in the Spectator, newspaper of general circulation, available to the residents. Copies of the notice of public hearing are available on the table. And unless there's an objection, I'm going to suggest waiving the full reading of the notice of the public hearing. Anybody want to read that one too? Thank you. We'll put the full text of that notice in the public hearing. The comments received today at this public hearing are presented to the members of the agency prior to the meeting at which the members of the agency will consider whether to approve the granting of the requested additional financial assistance by the agency in excess of $100,000 with respect to this project. The notice of the public hearing indicated the written comments could be addressed by Craig R. Clark, and I've received no written comments to this stage except for what has been noted in an email. I do have one from the Canasrega School District, which will be entered into this public hearing. If there's a company representing the public hearing, I'll now introduce Shane of the company. Sean, sorry. Didn't write that one here, Sean. Who will describe the proposed additional financial assistance. Do you have any comments, Sean?
No.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for being here.
Thank you. I will now open this public hearing for public comment at 7:06. And boy, the operator, if you wish to make a public comment, please raise your hand and I'll call on you. Please wait to be recognized. Once recognized, please stand and state your name and address for the record. And if there are any comments, they'll all be recorded and also be part of that public hearing. Like I said, and we'll be open for at least 15 minutes after the scheduled start of this public hearing. So at this time, are there public comments regarding this public hearing and the financial assistance from any of the members present? You don't have to, but you can. Terry, go ahead.
Yep, Terry Ross, County Treasurer. I know there's some concerns on the county side about the parcels that are included. There was concern because one of them is the subdivision, and there are issues with issuing a clean tax search if they are included in the pilot.
Okay.
So our concerns are about that. Our concerns are about the schedule that is hasn't been completely detailed that we can see. What we did see was a 15-year pilot with the first 10 years at no payment. And the other concern we have is obviously the delinquent pilot that has been expired and the fact that the parcels were not put on the roll at the end of that pilot. And they have only added to the delinquencies on the last pilot that was approved. So I guess I'll make that part of the record.
I'd like to.
There's probably more things, but
Sure.
that's what.
If there are other things, Terry, just add them in writing as well, like what Chad did. We're not going to act on this Thursday. We won't act on it until December.
Okay.
So we have plenty of time to get you additional information of the schedule as well as anything else that you're concerned with.
And the delinquencies aren't
Sure.
mentioned at all in the new pilot, so.
That's
Or a
something,
payment plan.
something that Chad also mentioned, a payment plan, which I think we should put in there.
Thank you.
Anything else from the county? Or the town? Any comments? You don't have to have one, I'm just asking.
No, we support this proposal.
What effect, Richard Morris, I'm the assessor in the town.
Okay,
What effect would putting a new value on the ski area impact this agreement?
it will not, because the agreement's assuming that it's already at a different assessed value. What it would change would be after it comes off the pilot.
Because I didn't have anything to do with what the assessed value of it is.
Right,
A couple of lawyers decided that
right,
back when Phil Saunders had the property, took us to court, and a couple lawyers got in a room and decided what the value of the ski area was.
Right.
Now, according to New York State, we could value it on what it would cost to build it, or we could value it on what other ski areas are selling for. Or the third way, we could do an income and expense valuation and try to come up with a better idea of what the true value of the ski area should be. So I'm of the inclination to, if I could sit down with Sean some time to get the income and expense information, revalue the ski area to a point where maybe they could come back on the roll full-time, pay their taxes and be like everybody else.
I think that would be helpful. This gives you time to be able to do that. Because I agree, that's the whole goal, is to get it back on the tax rolls at a reasonable value.
Like I said, another comment on that too, is
Sure.
as far as how the assessment was determined for the pilot at $750,000 and how the benefits of the pilot were calculated, the 400,000 and the 120,000 that were located in that pilot. The other question that should come to mind is that there's no increments for any of the improvements on the property. The past pilots have been land only for so many years and then it escalated up with percentage. This one looks like it will be a flat 750 for the entirety of the 15 years with escalation at the last 5 years.
All right. And we can change that too. But
So I wasn't sure,
That's
I
what-
wasn't sure how the 750 was determined.
that was determined based upon the request going between 750 and $1 million, thinking that was a more reasonable value. Did we have a number? No, we don't have an assessed value. We didn't get it. We did not get an assessment on that.
Correct. Is this proposed pilot, is that available? Because I'm coming late to the game. I haven't
Sure.
seen a copy of it to really.
What Terry's asking is more details, and we'll get you more details. But I'm telling you, it's based upon the values that Dan put forward are based upon assessed value of 750, and it's 15 years, no taxes, and then 5 years of ramp up. 10 years.
No, it's 10.
10 years,
Taxes,
15 years
5 years.
pilot, 10 years, no taxes. and
But
5
no
years,
escalation on
Until-
improvements being added. It's
which
just-
is 2% after, yeah. Which we can still add some of those things in.
Well, and obviously the county's concern is the fact that there's no payments made for 10 years, which puts them behind the 8 ball anyway. You know, this is the second failed pilot, and this would be the third pilot. And I mean, I certainly don't have a problem supporting a pilot,
Right.
but I think it needs to be reasonable so that, you know, it doesn't remain delinquent like the current one is.
I think part of that would help that we got a payment plan put together in the pilot.
There are also no provisions that I saw in the pilot that deal with when they're in default.
You got that down, Terry. So after this meeting, we'll have time to get you the full write-up on the pilot before we approve it, because we've got another month. We've got another 5 weeks, okay?
You said December 14th.
Yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah. We're not gonna act on it this Thursday. So this Thursday will be a discussion with the board. We'll make sure the full pilot, what it looks like, will be presented to you before we actually act on
I just got one
it,
comment,
including the schedule.
if I could.
Sure.
Obviously, I am not Joe Bunger, a real property. I'm not speaking on behalf of the county because I haven't discussed it with Terry, our administrator. I remember going back, what was it, 15 years ago, prior to the 2011 pilot. It seems like this is a reoccurring issue. Like I said, this is just a statement.
Sure.
Ideally, I'm not going to speak for Richard either, but ideally, if from my office's standpoint, the ideal situation would be to come up with an assessment that everybody could live with and put it back on the rolls. That way, we're not revisiting this issue periodically throughout. And that's pretty much
The life of the pilot.
so like that.
I think we all agree with that, but this gives you time to figure out how to do that so we can keep them afloat while we're getting that truly assessed value put together.
Craig, this is Carissa Knapp, County Administrator. I just want to agree with everything Terry and Joe said. County is supportive. Swain's important for economic development in the county. However, having had these same issues with the last pilot, we don't want to see, 10 years of zero payments and all of a sudden, 10 years from now, we have the same issues with the new pilot too. So I do think that repayment plan on their current delinquencies is very important, but that be done. Any year they have a zero payment going forward, it would be unreasonable to expect this to succeed if they just are making zero payments on the new pilot and they're not paying the arrears on the old pilot as well. And I think, as Joe pointed out, that assessment, that would be the ideal situation, is if their assessment was reasonable and they were just on tax rolls. And they do need to be on tax rolls too.
And there are consequences for putting them on the tax roll, obviously, because the shortened time of non-payment is much shorter. But at the same time, it makes it easier for the municipality, such as the school, who is dependent on, those funds coming in, and they're not getting them. It does put the onus on the county, because the county will end up having to make them whole if they are on the roll. But at the same time, it holds everyone responsible in a time frame instead of spreading it out over 15 years again. And, unfortunately, it's in a bad spot, I guess, at this point. I'll just say that.
In 15 years from now, I don't think anybody in this room currently come back. I don't want to be the next set of people with a problem as big as if.
And I think that's why this pilot has to be refined yet to include what Chad has mentioned, what Terry has mentioned, you have mentioned, so it's clearly articulated.
I would like to get that cleaned up about the parcels that are included, because I think that helps Swain with the
Be able to sell
sale
those parcels,
of those properties, and we've talked about that before, and I was a little surprised when I read it that all 3 parcels were listed again. Because I was under the understanding it would just be the main parcel and not the other 2 small ones.
That'll also be
That they would
right,
go on
that can be
board.
rectified, yes.
So that is correct that there's 3 parcels that will be involved.
Well, there are, in the documents we have so far, it's the full 3 parcels. We have to look to make sure those other lots, because we don't want to have those included, like what we talked about.
So those will go on next year's roll.
Yeah.
If it's as it stands.
That's what we gotta look at, yes.
Okay, yes.
And are you talking about the other 3 that are exempt as well? So
Correct.
there's 3 that are not included in any pilot
Okay.
agreement that are exempt. That something needs to be addressed with those 3 parcels, I think.
Does one of those parcels have operations on it too?
Maybe Richard?
I don't like,
I don't think so.
No.
I think they're just, I don't think so either. I
We'll have to
think
look
they're
at those and clarify those.
just vacant land, I think. They don't-
but yeah, it's a parking lot down here on Mill Street and Mountain View. Almost thought that was in the pilot though. I'm not sure.
We'll have to sit down and look at those parcels to make sure. what isn't
And
included.
Drew's, the building right
Yeah.
next door is that.
Because that's part of the operation. That should be in it probably.
But it's never been detailed in a pilot.
Well,
That's what I'm saying, we need to
So
fix
they
that.
don't have any backup as to why they're exempt. They're just marked exempt. They don't have any pilot
oh, I
to
see.
make them exempt.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
That's why we want to clarify it so everybody's clear.
Yep.
Which makes sense. So we'll sit down and look at that. Are there any other comments? Because luckily we've already gone over 15 minutes, so whenever you're done with commenting, we're done. So.
I do want to add, I know Terry's kind of outlined the problems, but another one for the county's perspective is I think having all those parcels in there has made it very difficult for Terry's office when they do accept payments on these arrears to figure out how to apply it. And then, how to release some of those other parcels for those subdivisions. That's a burden on the treasurer's office that, we normally don't experience in pilots.
Okay.
It's frustrating, I think, for her and her staff, although she's probably too kind to say that.
We'll figure out, we'll sit down and look at those and with Sean. Okay. Any other comments? You got yours on the record, we'll get it all typed up and I'll talk to the board.
Yeah,
Any other comments?
thank you.
If
My
not,
last comment.
so if there are no further comments, I now close the hearing at 7:21. And I want to thank for everybody attending. And this was like I said, this was a good debate and discussion. So thank you, appreciate it. There we go.